many crops, hybrids only ruling. Okay, you can take all the private industry. The majority of the stake is because of hybrids. Your stake is from hybrids. That much commercial value it having. The seed industry is developed on this hybrids. Okay. Before going to discuss about hybrid breeding, tomorrow I will going to discuss in detail about what is different types of hybrids and history of hybrid breeding and the biometrics of heterosis. But before going to that, we have to understand the concept behind hybrid breeding. That concept is called as heterosis. Why hybrids are that much famous and why hybrids are developed and why hybrids are that much outperforming and high yielding because of the one thing is called as heterosis. Okay, as Shell was the first person who actually coined the term heterosis, and Shell and Yeast were the two major contributors for the hybrid breeding. Shell and Yeast. They are the two very, very important scientists. They have contributed for the development of hybrids in the US, United States of America. And now every crop we can see the hybrids and it is revolutionized, okay, in maize and rice and in some case vegetables, tomato. It's a very highly remunerative and high commercial, like high yielding commercial crops are developed because of this hybrid technology. And as per the Shell has defined heterosis, heterosis is just nothing but the increase in the vigor, size, fruitfulness, speed of the development, and resistant to disease and pest. Why it is? Because of manifested in the crossbred organism when compared to inbred at the as a specific result of unlikeliness in the constitution of uniting parental gametes. What exactly it means? When you have same alleles, when you have different alleles, this will perform better, either in case of development or resistant to disease or seed multiplication, either in the fruitfulness or the growth vigor, the fastness of growth or biomass, everything, it is increased due to there is unlikeliness in the allelic combination. The heterozygotes are more better than the homozygotes. This is what actually Shell has defined. And exact definition is very, very important. In many exams, they are going to ask. Remember the exact definition. And at least this line. Why? There is an increase in the vigor due to unlikeliness in the constitution of uniting parental gametes. Okay, for example, A cross with A, the yield what we are going to get here in this one, A cross with A and A. This heterozygous is more vigorous, more outperforming than the homozygotes because of this unlikeliness in the allele combination will give increase in the vigor and all the traits related to the development and the yield, it is increased due to because of unlikeliness in the gametes which are getting from their parents. In simple words, what is heterosis? In simple one line definition, anybody knows?
Superiority of F1 over both the parents.
Yeah,
Superiority of the heterozygote over the two
exactly.
homozygotes.
The F1 will perform better than both the parents. This is called as heterosis. Why? If you, why it is better performing than the parents? It is because of unlikeliness in the constitution of uniting parental gametes. The alleles between P1 and P2, the difference, how much for the difference, more will be the vigor. Okay. How much unlikeliness between the two parents, that much increased in the vigor. In nutshell, the heterosis is equal to dy square. In tomorrow's class, we're going to discuss how to derive, how to discuss what are the different components and how to understand this. Can anybody tell what is d and what is y? Anybody previously read about this formula? H is equal to dy square. It's very, very, very important formula when it comes to hybrid breeding. All depends on all our hybrid technology, like selection of parents, maintenance of hybrids, okay, evaluation of parents, evaluation of hybrids, everything depends on this formula.
Sir,
Anybody
degree
know
of
about this?
directional dominance and gene frequency.
Yeah. Okay. Degree of dominance and the gene frequency. What does that means? Means that, for example, you take P1 and P2. Y means the difference in the genes. Difference in the genes between the P1 and P2. And it is the degree of dominance, a directional dominance. Okay. Directional dominance. We will discuss in detail how exactly in biometrically, like by taking p squared plus 2pq plus q squared, it will derived from this formula actually. We will discuss in detail tomorrow. Before that, we have to understand what is the genetic mechanism of the heterosis. Why it is important? Because when there is a heterozygote, there definitely there will be which component of variance is maximum?
Dominance component.
Dominance variance is the maximum. Means dominance variation definitely contribute for your heterosis. Whenever there is a heterozygote, there will be the maximum variance explained by dominance variance. And at what level? The degree of dominance and at how many genes they are differing. The genotypic difference between the two parents and the degree of dominance between the two parents, its summation is equal to the heterosis. Dy square is for one gene, but summation of all the genes in a particular inbreds, it is called as heterosis. Okay, understood what is heterosis? It's just a superiority of an F1 over both the parents, and it is due to the unlikeliness in the constitution of uniting parental gametes. And biometrical definition of heterosis is the summation of the degree of dominance and the genetic difference between the two parents. Okay, understood what is the definition of heterosis? Anybody have doubts? We will discuss in detail how to derive this formula and what exactly at what condition, what is the maximum value of D, minimum value of D, what is the maximum value of Y, what is the minimum value of Y in tomorrow's class. Okay, before that we have to understand what is the genetic basis of heterosis. To understand what is the genetic basis of heterosis, there are three hypotheses was formulated. One is dominance hypothesis, which was given by Davenport in 1908, and another one is over-dominance hypothesis, which is given by East and Shell in 1908, and epistatic hypothesis was given by Gowen. Anybody have previously read about this hypothesis? I think many of you read, because this is the fundamental concept of the JRF. Today we are going to discuss in detail what is dominance hypothesis, what is over-dominance hypothesis, and what is epistatic hypothesis. Anybody have anybody know about dominance hypothesis? What is the dominance hypothesis?
Sir,
Dominant
the
alleles on every locus suppresses the recessive alleles and their deleterious effects.
Can you redefine again? Can you define again?
Dominant alleles on every locus will suppress the effects of deleterious effects of all the recessive alleles.
Then what will happen?
Then
sir,
the heterosis will happen.
Yeah. Can you define again what exactly it is?
Sir, the deleterious or ill effects of recessive alleles in homozygous condition is masked by the dominant allele in the heterozygote condition, so that ill effects won't happen, sir. And the dominant alleles should be scattered between the two parents at different locuses.
Yeah. You're all correct. I'm just asking. Okay. We will discuss. Okay. What is over-dominance hypothesis?
Heterozygote superiority, sir.
Can you define in 1-2 lines?
Sir, the heterozygote is at a single locus is simply superior than the two homozygotes, sir. The heterosis here is not actually due to masking effect, but due to the heterozygote condition itself.
Exactly. Okay. Then what is epistatic? Epistatic hypothesis.
Interaction between two or more locus at a specific way to produce heterosis.
Exactly. I think you have the basic understanding about today. We are going to discuss about them only, and we are going to discuss about what is the limitation for each hypothesis and which hypothesis is better hypothesis. Okay. Dominance hypothesis. All you are actually whenever you're defining, you should define in the okay. Explaining all the things, you should forgetting what it will do. Okay. Heterosis is the result from masking of harmful effect of recessive alleles by the dominant allele. Okay. Then it means that whenever parent 1 and parent 2 are crossing, for example, A, B, C, C, small a, small b, small c, small c. And you are getting A, B, and small c. Okay. Means the dominant allele will mask the expression of the recessive allele. Here also dominant allele will mask the expression of the recessive allele. The dominant allele will mask the expression of recessive allele. Means normally, for example, if the dominant allele value is 10 and your recessive allele is 5, cumulatively you can take. Here you are going to get 10. Okay. This is what the explanation of given by the E is given by Davenport for the heterosis. The heterosis will happen because of whenever you cross the two parents which are truly homozygous in nature, and the F1 what you are going to get, the true heterozygote, there each dominant allele will mask the expression of the recessive allele. Due to that, the unlikeliness in the alleles and the masking of the dominant allele over the recessive allele will lead to increase in the vigor in the F1, that is called as an heterosis. This is what the dominance hypothesis given an explanation for why your F1 will is outperforming than the parents. Okay, this is what the Davenport was given. But he said that the heterozygotes, for example, we will discuss what is over dominance hypothesis, then we will come to know what the dominance hypothesis will not going to explain. Okay. Then if it is in the case, have another question. If you have a F1 in F2, you may get all the dominance allele in a one parent. Basically, there is a difference between like this. This will be there. This individual will be there in the F2, which having all the dominant allele A, B, B, C, C, D, D. This is not performing better like this F1. Even though this particular individual having all the dominant allele, it will not have that much good performance than this F1. Then this hypothesis holds good or not?
No, sir.
Yeah, because he said that if there is a dominant allele, that's why your superiority will come, because it masks the expression of the recessive. But in F2, there is a possibility of isolating all the individuals which having all the dominant allele. This is possible. But why this type of an inbred which having all the dominant allele is not as superior as the individual what we are going to get in F1? Why is it so? This is what failure to explain this phenomenon. It failure to isolate the inbred as bigger as hybrids which having all the dominant allele individual in the particular inbred. That's why this theory will not going to explain this phenomenon. But later again some other explanation came to support this dominance hypothesis that called as dominance of linked genes. Okay, you understood this first objection?
Sir,
What is the first objection?
can you please explain that objections again, sir?
No, only one objection I have discussed.
Yes, sir. First objection.
Yeah. For example, having P1 and P2, to take AA, PB, and CC, ED, and A small a, small a, small b, small b, capital C, and capital D. In F1, we're going to get AA, PB, CC, and DD. Wait. What are you going to? Okay. Here F1, AA, BB, CC, DD will be there. Like this F1 is, as per the heterosis, the F1 is superior over the both the parents. In F2, the F2, some inbreds or some lines you take, you're having all the dominant allele. Okay. According to the dominance hypothesis, A will address the superiority. This superiority is due to capital A will mask the expression of small a, capital B masks the expression of small b, capital C masks the expression of small c, capital D masks the expression of small d. And that's why you are going to have better F. But in F2, you are having the individuals, all the dominant allele. But it is not as superior as this F1 normally. According to dominant hypothesis, what is the result of this inbred? If your dominant hypothesis was exactly right, definitely this inbred, which having all the dominant allele, will must be superior over the both F1 and parents. But it is not. Even though it is superior over the parents, but not as the F1 normally. But if it is having all the dominant allele, it should be superior over the F1, but it will not be superior. That's what the objection for the dominance hypothesis.
Understood, sir.
Okay. Then
Yes.
what? But all the dominance hypotheses are accepted. This objection is overruled by some other explanation. That explanation is called as dominance of linked gene, given by D.F. Jones. Can anybody tell what is dominance of linked genes?
Sir, it states that due to linkage between dominance allele of one gene and recessive allele of other gene, we are not able to isolate a line which is having all dominant allele combination for all the locuses.
Exactly right answer. Okay, it's perfect answer. Because of most of the genes, when we are talking about the 5 genes, okay, we can isolate, we can do all the things, but we have thousands of genes in the organism. Maybe you take rice, it's having almost all 40,000 genes or 20,000 genes. Okay, they definitely will be on the same chromosome. Like some genes will be definitely will be in the same chromosome. Means there will be in the link. Then we can't say that all the dominant alleles of all the genes will assertive in nature. Means all the dominant allele will sit in a one phase and all the recessive allele will sit in other phase. This is possible. It is not possible. Means a dominance alleles of a one gene may be linked with the undesirable genes. Either there will be assertive and desorptive relations. The two favorable genes are in assertive conditions, or one favorable and unfavorable maybe in assertive condition. Everything will be possible. That's why we are unable to isolate the inbreds which having all the dominant alleles in the one gene. Practically, theoretically it may happen, but practically isolating the individual having all the dominant alleles for the particular gene is practically impossible. Understood? What is the explanation was given to this objection?
Yes, sir.
This is one. Then another objection is raised for dominance hypothesis. If the heterosis is the only due to the masking of harmful effects on recessive allele, it should be skewed. F2 maybe F2 should be skewed. The performance of F2 should be skewed towards all the dominant alleles. But it's showing a normal distribution in F2. Why it is so? If you are saying the heterosis is due to masking effect of dominant allele over recessive, then definitely the performance should be skewed towards all the dominant alleles. Okay, the curve has to shift towards all the dominant alleles, but it's following a normal distribution curve. Why it is so? It is one of the objection for your dominance hypothesis. But it is also explained by other things.
Linkage, sir?
Not the linkage, just polygenes. Most of the traits like yield, resistance, development, size, everything, most of they are quantitative in nature. Most of the traits are quantitative in nature. Quantitative in nature. If the most of the traits are quantitative genes, they are majorly governed by small minor genes with an additive effect. They are called polygenes. Normally, polygenes show which type of curve?
Symmetrical curve. Bell shape.
Bell
Yeah,
curve.
bell-shaped symmetrical curve. This was the explanation given for the objection which are raised by some scientists. Okay, even though the expected results was skewed distribution in F2, if there is a masking of the skewed towards all the dominant alleles, but we are getting a symmetrical curve, even though the expected was this one, if this hypothesis is holds good, expected is skewed towards all the dominant alleles, but the performance is skewed towards the mean. It is normal, perfectly normal curve. It is due to because of the many traits having minor effect and they are additive in nature, then definitely they show the normal distribution curve, even though this hypothesis is holds good. Okay, this was the explanation was given. This should be, you should remember, because many times it asked in the ASRB exam. Okay, understood? What is dominance hypothesis and what are the objections and what is the clarifications to overrule this objection was given? I think you understood all these points about dominance hypothesis. Can I move forward? Let's say something. Hello?
Yes, sir.
Then, over dominance hypothesis. It's mainly the first point of over dominance hypothesis. The heterosis is due to the cumulative action of the divergent allele. Here Y will come. Means the two parents, how much diversity is, that is the very important for the manifestation of your heterosis. Means how much diverse the parents were, the how much heterosis you are going to get. Means so the divergent allele will come together from the two different parents, two diverse parents, that the cumulative action of the divergent alleles, it leads to heterosis. This point directly asked in the exam. The given the cumulative action of divergent alleles is explains which type of heterosis, like which hypothesis of heterosis. It is over dominance hypothesis. Means rather than masking of a dominant allele over recessive allele at each locus, depends on these alleles are from how much diverse parents. If they are less diverse parents, then definitely there will be less heterosis. Even though they are in the masking effect is not that much calculated. In a simple way, we will discuss. For example, take wait. See, this individual single heterozygous, this heterozygosity itself it leads to heterosis. Means these two parents were there much difference. This difference is enough. The heterozygosity itself, the diversity between the parent itself is the main cause of your heterosis. It's not that much like each and every locus should be dominant and mask the expression. It's not considered that. Either they two are diverse and they are in heterozygosis, then definitely there will be heterosis. Means heterozygosity itself will cause the heterosis. Means heterozygote, at least some loci. See here heterozygote, at least only one loci are superior to both relevant homozygotes. And thus heterozygote AA would be superior to both the homozygous A and A. It's not like that all the alleles must be in the heterozygous. Even though there will be heterozygosity at the specific some loci also, they're having better performance over the homozygotes. It's not like that all alleles should have heterozygous and all the dominant alleles should mask the expression of recessive allele, it's not considered that. If they are heterozygote at some loci also, it will lead to higher performance than the parents. This is what the explanation for the over-dominance hypothesis. Understood? Simple words, you just remember cumulative option of divergent. If the how much diverse the parents, you will get that much heterosis. Even at least at this heterozygosity at some loci will lead to heterosis. It means that heterozygosity itself leads to heterosis. Just remember this point. Okay. Then why it is so? Because when some alleles, when Y superior of heterozygotes means because of in A small a, it will not able to produce some compound, chemical compound. In homozygote, it will not able to produce some compound. But whenever it comes A, they are able to synthesize some product, hybrid substance. This hybrid substance will lead to improve your performance. Even at a single locus, this product will form, then definitely it leads to improvement in the F1. Rather than dominant allele should come and mask, it is not that much needed. That this heterozygotes is needed to produce some hybrid substance. And this substance is produced only when the genes are in heterozygous condition. That leads to the improvement. In this condition, this over-dominance hypothesis holds good. And it is not like that. These both dominance and over-dominance concept, they are not exclusive in nature. Means they are not different. But they are in some condition, the dominance hypothesis holds good. In some condition, in some species, over-dominance hypothesis holds good. Okay? And one of the major limitations for this hypothesis is called as pseudo-dominance. Means like pseudo-over-dominance. It may be due to this heterozygosity, it may be even though the genes are in homozygous condition, but due to repulsion phase linkage between the two different genes, which appears like over-dominance. Means the estimation of over-dominance is overestimated due to the repulsion linkage. It also asked several times in the exam. That's what pseudo-over-dominance. Okay? Pseudo-over-dominance mainly due to the repulsion phase linkage. And this will misleads your estimations of over-dominance. That is one of the limitation of this hypothesis. Understood what is over-dominance hypothesis?
Yes, sir.
Then when we see the similarities, both the condition inbreeding will lead to reduction in the performance. It's called as inbreeding depression. In both the cases, inbreeding depression is observed. And in the both cases, outbreeding leads to heterosis, outbreeding led to heterosis, and degree of heterosis increases with the genetic diversity between the parent. Here also genetic diversity between the parents will increase the heterosis. But the difference is when you see inbreeding depression as a result of homozygosity of deleterious recessive alleles. When there is an absence of dominant alleles, then there will be expression of deleterious recessive allele, then your inbreeding depression occurs. But even in capital A, capital B, capital will be there. All the performance will going to reduce. Good. This is also possible due to inbreeding. All the homozygotes will get, all the dominant homozygote will get. But according to dominance hypothesis, it has to be increased. But there will be depression because of this homozygous. That's why so many other times over-dominance hypothesis holds good actually. Because this homozygosity in all the dominant allele will also reduction in the performance due to inbreeding depression. This is not explained by your dominance hypothesis. That's why the heterosis is just the heterozygosity itself. And inbreeding depression is just homozygosity itself. It's not like that all the dominant will have always have favorable to the heterosis. It's not like that. That point you should remember. Then the phenotypic heterozygote, comparable to that of the dominant homozygote. I told this one. Like phenotype, for example, one parent having 10, all the dominant, another parent having all the recessive having 5. Your F1 definitely having at what trait? All the trait having 10 only. It is exactly comparable to dominant parent. But here, it's just superior over the both the homozygotes. It's not like that it is equal to one dominant parent. That you should remember. Then inbred as bigger as F1 can be isolated, like theoretically, but here cannot be isolated. This point you should remember. This is what the difference and similarities between the dominance and over-dominant hypothesis. Then how to develop hybrids? First, we need to develop an inbred lines. Then we have to evaluate the inbred lines. Then the combination of inbred lines like single cross hybrid, double cross hybrids, we can develop this. Then we can exploit your heterosis. Then while develop, how we develop the inbreds? Either had to self the source population, or we can do haploid breeding. And how to evaluate? There are several evaluation procedures. I had to test all cross combination, test for GCA, test for SCA in different mating designs called as diallele, triallele, quadriallele, biparental designs. Whatever mating designs, you just evaluate your inbred lines or top crosses, test crosses. Then we will test the inbreds in all possible combinations. Then we will select better hybrid. Then we are going to release. This is what the different steps we follow in the hybrid development. We will discuss in detail in each step tomorrow's class. Okay. Understood what is heterosis? What is genetic basis of heterosis? Dominance
Yes, sir.
hypothesis, over dominance, and
Yes.
steps in the developing hybrids. We will discuss some questions related to this one. This one we will discuss tomorrow history. This actually tomorrow I will going to discuss these other topics. Okay. I think I have discussed this point. Genetic advance under the selection is not dependent on. Can you be able to answer this question?
Extent of genotypic variability in selected progenies.
Exactly. Okay. I will not going to explain because I have several times I have explained. Then this was actually you should remember this is general question. General of genetics was given by the Shell, and you should remember tomorrow we are going to discuss what is. I think I have discussed the contribution of shells in the introductory class of scientists. Remember all the things. And who actually developed a hybrid company. I discussed one. HFLS. And this reverse breeding we have discussed. Yeah. The heterosis in F1, H is equal to dy square, where maximum possible of y. Can I repeat it? Actually 0 to 1 is the range of y and 0 to 0.5 is the range of d. Why? And this year also two questions were asked based on this concept. 2024. What is y? What is d? How to estimate it? Tomorrow we will discuss. Okay. Then, which of the following hybrid is a modified three-way cross? A into A dash into B. Can anyone remember this one? Modified three-way cross. What is A dash?
Improved version of A, sir.
Exactly. Sister line. So the basic concepts you have to remember. Okay. Okay. Any doubts regarding this class?
No,
I'm
sir.
taking very short classes because I don't want to bore you all. Tomorrow we're going to discuss in detail about h is equal to dy square. It's very, very important concept. And what is the meaning of directional dominance, how the parent should be, how the allelic combination should be. Okay. Can anybody know about what is dispersion? Complete dispersion, coefficient of dispersion. You should read all the things. Okay. We'll discuss, I think, somewhat. Whatever I know, we'll discuss. Okay. Bye. Bye, everyone. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Night.
Good night, sir.